naked on the streets, and she said, "Pick a G. Give me." I said, "What's a G? What's a G?" She said, "The graveyard or graduation." Pick.
Mm.
And that summer, I really applied myself. It's like I tell everybody, it's like something exploded in my head.
If you want to know more about the Indie Authors Book Fair, let me introduce you to my next guest, Mr. Richard Ashby. Hello.
Hello, can you see me?
I see you great.
Okay. How
So
are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm thank you for joining me. I was, let me tell you all about this man right here. You know, this man snuck in my town and didn't even tell me he was here. And it's a shame. I really feel like we've seen each other a lot lately because we saw each other in New Orleans at the Black Caucus of the American Librarians Association, and that was 2 Saturdays ago. And then I saw you in DC at the Black Books Matter Festival, and now I'm going to see you this coming Saturday at the Independent. How do you say it? The Independent Book Authors Festival?
Yeah, we got to stop meeting like this. Your boyfriend's a nice guy. My wife's a wonderful woman. We got to stop meeting.
I was just bragging on you to our last guest, Onyx. So, and I told her that you are somebody that she wants to get to know. So, not just telling Onyx, but can you tell our guest who is Richard Ashby Jr.?
Oh, okay. I'm a librarian. I'm a child of God. In my past lives, I've been the president of the New York Black Librarians Caucus. I have been the president of the National Black Librarians Caucus of American Librarians Association. I am the president of Literacy Nation, what our motto is with literacy and justice for all, because you can have all the liberty you want, but without literacy, you will have no justice. And Literacy Nation is an organization, it's a movement that empower, acknowledge, and celebrate independent authors and their voices. And we have put over 3,000 books into the library over the last 2.5 years. I'm also the director of the Sharon Hill Public Library, and I am the incoming vice president of the Pennsylvania Library Association. I'm the first African American Black librarian to hold that position.
That is amazing, and congratulations! And all the bragging that your cousin did on you, well deserved. Let's move on to something cheerful. This coming Saturday is the Independent Book Festival. Can you tell us a bit about it?
So the Independent Book Festival is a celebration of independent authors. It's on August 10th at the Pennsylvania Convention Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All of our authors that will be there are members of Literacy Nation. All of the authors that will be there will be attending will have their books cataloged and put immediately into the library. So we're not just interested in you coming and you selling your books. We're interested in you coming and developing.
That is awesome.
Dr. Rhonda will host the workshop. Um, we have Vanessa Tyler from the Black News Network. She will host a panel discussion. We have Edward Sargent from the DC area. He's a newscaster and a journalist in DC. He will also be hosting the session. In that area of the convention center will be called the media zone. And then we have the children's zone, where authors will be able to do short story times with the kids and get them interested in the book and say, well, you want to hear the rest of the story? Go inside and purchase my book. Go to the library and read it at the library. And then we have face painting for the children. We have photographers coming in. We're going to have a good time. We have a voter's registration because we have work to do.
Oh, absolutely.
The young lady, Onyx, was talking about how she was ripped off before. And there's so many, I call them hucklebucks out here, ripping authors off left and right. I don't even know how they go to sleep. we had one young man. He took one of my author's books and he edited, and I read it, and the first two lines had maybe 8, 9 typos, punctuations, and misspelled words, and I called.
It had you wondering what he was reading, huh?
No, this Hucklebuck, he said, and he charged it like he only charged $700 to edit the book. Okay, or $500 to edit the book. So I called him and I said, what's going on with this book? So he said, oh, are we edited? I'll say, okay, who's we? Who's we? Oh, my daughter edited. His daughter was in the 8th grade and she got A's. So he thought that he could have his daughter edit the book. And I tell everybody, because your daughter, you brought me to a party and I got there and I start throwing up all over the furniture and put my feet up on the furniture, they're gonna look at you like you crazy. Same thing with books. If I bring a book to the library and that book is not edited right, that book is not formatted right, that book has been printed by Jerry and Tiffany's printing press in their basement. You know, you're messing with my reputation.
Now, what are some of the elements of a good pitch?
Who, what, when, where? Who are you? What do you have? When would you like to set up a meeting? And where would you like for me to put your book? Because you could put the book, I want you to, you can have the book put into the collection. You can have the book put in the local author's shelf. And so you want to address those things. So it would be like, hi, my name is Richard Ashby. I've written a book called How to Grow Hair. I would like for you to put this book in your system. It's already been cataloged into the World Cat, and it's already been Kirkus reviewed. Is there a time we can set up where we can talk about this book and possibility of me doing a workshop or book signing in your library?
Why did you decide to become a librarian? And when did you realize the importance of having more Black librarians?
I decided to become a librarian. First of all, I never planned on being a librarian. I wanted to be a Baptist minister and a congressman. That's what I wanted to be about. And that's what my daydreams are about. Most of my daydreams are about preaching. And when I sit around just daydream, I dream about preaching. I was a horrible student. I was an absolute horrible student. I didn't go to kindergarten, so first grade was a shock. You know, it didn't take, and I got left back in the 12th grade. I mean, who gets left back in the 12th grade on the last day of school? You know what I'm saying?
Now, Richard, what were you doing in high school now?
I was always a good kid. I was always a very good kid. I was joking about those stripes before, but I was never a bad kid. I was always a good kid. I was always a nerd, but I was a nerd I was always smart, but I wasn't book smart because I couldn't read very well. And I was 16 years old, growing up in New York City. My cousin played with Benny King and he played with Chaka Khan, and I would hang out on Friday nights at the Apollo in Manhattan Center. And one of my friends came to me one Friday and he's like, hey guys, what are you guys doing for the weekend? And I said, we're going to the Apollo. What are you doing? He's like, there's a program at the library tonight. And I was like, the library? Who goes to the library on Friday nights? And I thought it was the funniest thing. I could go to the library. And I brought him to tears because I was ruthless. And my mother came outside and she goes, what's going on? And I was like, Chucky's going to the library. And my mother was like, shut up. Leave Chucky alone. And she's like, you know what? She stopped and she looked at me and she said, one day you're going to be a librarian. And I said to myself, this woman's crazy. I'm in like the 12th grade reading on 5th grade level. I mean, who's going to be a librarian? And she worked with me and I did a second year of high school, and they put me in college, and I failed out of college my first year, and she put me in an all-white college, and they called her up and told her to come get me because I wasn't college material. My mother came up to the college. She's asking, she speak to me in the dorm room. She said, strip to your underwear. And that little lady from North Carolina beat me like I stole something. She said, "You're intelligent, you're just lazy, you're very smart, and I'm not going to have you. I will not lose you to the streets. I'll kill you before I lose you to the streets. Besides that,
Mm,
you're a tough guy. You can't make it on the streets." And she said, "Pick a G. Give me," I said, "What's a G? What's a G?" She said, "The graveyard or graduation." Pick.
mm,
And that summer, I really applied myself. It's like, I tell everybody, it's like something exploded in my head. And I went from like a 1.97 cum to a 3.8 in one semester. And then I just became this super smart nerd guy. And I never planned on working in the library still. And I was going through a very bad divorce. And my mother said, somebody said to me, "Why don't you become the?" Somebody said, "Why don't you take a part-time job in the library as a security guard?" I was like, "I have a degree." Now remember, I graduated. I barely graduated high school, and I'm like, now I'm like, I've got a degree. I'm not working as a security guard. And my mother said, "Well, if you worked as a security guard, Richie, then your son could come to the library after school, and you could watch him, and you could be with him, since she's like not letting you see him when you want." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I went to work in the library, and I went from security guard to, and I received my degree. I went back to school at the age of 55 to get my degree. I'll be 70 this year. I went back to school at the age of 55 to get my degree, and I never spent one day as a librarian. I've always been a library director.